in life are always worth taking. Love and money is always worth making. Just grab on and hold on tight. You're in for the ride of your life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beyond the Arc podcast. Dallas, joined by Levi. Levi, as always, how are you doing?
Yes, sir. Doing well. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty well, Levi. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of down on the boys. Saturday night for a brief moment there, but a little recollection and level-headedness prevailed. I just thought that
Dallas, if you'll just give me a second here. I'm okay with the coaching Saturday night, but I am not okay with the fact that we went 7. I thought that Darwin Stone Dubar could make a very heavy impact on that game with Janai Broom, and Rick Barnes just did not play him. I thought the coaching was fine. I've held this in for the podcast. I'm not okay with the fact that we went 7 when Jordan Gainey was already battling the flu. We essentially cut Dubar out the game in a game that I believe that he could have made a huge impact in. And did he play his best game while he was out there? No, he did not. He missed some switches and stuff like that. But that's a game where you have to play him. And we're missing JP Estrella every single game at this point. Every loss we've had this year, other than Florida, has been one that I've sat and watched and said, it's a shame that Carr left and that Estrella can't play because, man, we could have used the length, just the scoring. But JP Estrella went toe-to-toe with Zach Edey last year in the NCAA tournament, and we're missing him. And sorry to cut you off, but I'm getting real sick and tired of the fact that sometimes for some reason Rick Barnes is cutting this rotation down. And you know me, I'm a huge Barnes guy. Love Coach Barnes. It's my papaw basically, but I don't like the fact that he's starting to go with 7. He needs to play Stone more, in my opinion. Let him play. Let him work through the kinks. Let him talk with the guys. That's how you get better on the basketball floor. So I've just been real irritated with the way that we basically went to a 7-man rotation Saturday, and I really think that bit us. Other than the fact that the officiating was just horrific both ways. So that's all I can really say about that until we get into it more. But I had to rant for a minute, which I think I already texted you and said I was gonna go on my rant, but I guess there's my rant.
Yeah, I mean, before I mention anything about that, I'm going to just go ahead and just briefly mention Mississippi State. Tennessee got the victory there, 68-56 on Tuesday night, and then transition into Saturday. Up with Dubar, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I wish he would get more playing time, but also at the same time, I kind of see where Coach Barnes' line of thinking is coming from, because sometimes when Dubar's out there, he's either on or he's not on. It feels like you can pretty much tell that after about 2 to 3 minutes of watching him play if it's going to be a game where he can be effective for you. And I guess Barnes saw something that told him that Dubar was not the best option going forward. And I don't guess we will never really know unless it's asked. But I wrote down some notes here on Auburn. I have actually a good section and a bad section. I thought Chaz hitting a key transition 3 there towards the end of the game. Positive for his confidence. I feel like there was a big question where if Chaz could get you that clutch buckets like Dalton Connect, normally if it was a clutch shot, you had a good feeling it was going in. And that was a pretty deep 3 he caught there on the transition, just rose up and buried it. I thought Okpara was great. He only had 2 blocks on the stat sheet, but I feel like he bothered at least 4 to 6 more shots that he against Broom and Auburn's guards. I thought Meshack was himself. An incredible effort. I mean, 9 points, 6 rebounds. They had one tremendous tip in that I'm still not sure how he got to coming off the rim. Ziegler, he got going late. Didn't really have the greatest first half. He got out there and was blowing by some guys in the second half, even hit a few jumpers. And defensively, I thought we smothered them. I mean, Auburn really had difficulty getting into their sets. We held them to below 20% from 3. Tennessee went back to the number one defense on Kim Palm currently. The bad, going to what you was mentioning, Levi, Dubar, Phillips, Gainey, and Milicic, they all struggled to find something. I mean, Milicic was hurt, Gainey was sick, but I kind of forgive those two performances. But I feel like you need one of those guys, maybe even two of them, to have good games for Tennessee to win a game like that. And then, of course, Tennessee went 4-22 from three, which is not going to cut it most nights. But all in all, I feel like that is a game Tennessee should have won. I don't want to feel like we're taking moral victories here, but I thought that was a great performance, regardless of how ugly it was at times. I feel like Tennessee proved they may even be better than Auburn. I feel like if that was at Thompson-Boling Arena, that's a game Tennessee pulls out. Levi, do you have anything else you want to add before we transition to tomorrow night, Tuesday night's game against Kentucky?
I would like to add a couple more things. Not to rant. I think Tennessee proved by far it's the best defensive team in the country. To hold that Auburn team, who I mean, just everybody that talks, the talking heads, the Twitter talking heads, all that have said that Auburn, they're by far the best team in the country. Like it's not even close with anybody else. Tennessee goes on the road, basically bogs the game down, makes it our type of game, gets to the point where Rick Barnes is throwing water bottles. I was listening to Rod Clark this morning on 99.1, the Sports Animal. John Wilkerson and Vince Ferrara were interviewing him, and they were like, "Have you ever seen Coach Barnes spike a water bottle?" And he was like, "To be honest, man, like we were so involved in the game, we didn't even see him spike it. We were just like, where did all this water come from?" And Coach G is what he calls Coach Gainey. He was like, Coach G was like, "Why is there water all over the place?" And he said they got back into the huddle or whatever, and we're talking, and everybody was like, "Where'd that water come from?" And he said, "Coach Barnes just kept coaching." He was like, "I didn't even notice until somebody had sent me a video of Coach Barnes spiking the water bottle." And he was like, I tell the guys all the time, like, get lost in the game. And he was like, I guess we as coaches got lost in the game, other than, Coach Barnes, who decided he was tired of it with a terrible foul call, which I think, in my opinion, Dallas, that absolutely ruined our chances of winning that game.
I don't disagree.
I'm not ever going to blame the refs, just like Coach Clark said. There's no need to. But yeah, it was just really funny to see Rick Barnes be so mad that he's just spiking water bottles out there. But I would like to say one thing. I think Auburn's a really, really good basketball team, and the fact that we were able, Chad Baker-Mazzara and Jones, I think we're both combined for 9 points. I'd have to look that up. I'm not going to really dig into all those notes at the moment, but overall, you just can't be mad about that loss. It's one of those losses where you're just kind of like, it is what it is. Get ready for Kentucky, move on. I'm actually proud, to be honest, of that team for going there where I think both of us said in the last podcast, like, we don't give us any chance to win, and they had a chance to win, and I liked the shot. I would like to ask you one question, Dallas. What did you think about allowing Zakai to be the one to take that final shot? I would just like to know what you thought about that draw up. Coach Clark said the entire thing was, hey, let's get an open shot, no double pumps, nothing contested. Let's get an open shot, and we got that. So I would just wondering what you thought about that final draw up that they had.
I mean, it's your senior leader. It's the heart of the team, taking maybe his biggest shot of the season so far. And, I mean, I don't think you can necessarily have any qualms with the fact that it was wide open. Maybe he could have took a dribble in and got a closer shot, better look. But all in all, I'm completely fine with it. I saw some people that were kind of scratching their heads saying that maybe Zakai Ziegler went AWOL, and that's just not something he's going to do at all. That's just a silly accusation. If he's taking the shot, Coach Barnes drew it up for him to take the shot, and I'm going to trust Coach Barnes in that situation. Do you concur?
Absolutely. The thing with me is like listening to the Coach Clark interview today. He said it straight up. You know, the play was drawn up for Zakai. They knew that if they could get a pin down screen with Chaz, that there'd be two people go to Chaz. They figured they'd get an open shot. They got an open shot. We just didn't hit it. But there's some troubling things in our losses, Dallas. You know, 4 for 22 from three, 4 for 29 from three. That's just things that can't happen. You can't hit 4 out of 20 plus threes. What's also weird is you go to Vanderbilt and you shoot 10 for 21 and lose. So, but as Coach Clark said, they knew immediately the moment they drew the play up that Chaz was going to get all the attention. So they basically used Chaz as a decoy and they tried to get one for Zeke. And I'm perfectly fine with that for the rest of the season, even, any other game. But number one team on the road, I don't think we should I don't think we should put our heads down and be all upset about it. You just held the best offense in the country to 53 points. And if you'd have told me before the game, Dallas, if I'd asked you and said, Auburn's only going to score 53, you think we win?
Oh,
What would
absolutely.
you? Yeah.
I would say
So,
maybe 9 times out of 10, Tennessee wins that game.
yeah. At home, like you said, we win that game. But anyways, let's move on before I ramble too much.
Absolutely. I mean, this is probably one of my most looked forward to games of the year every year. Anytime Tennessee plays Kentucky and has a chance to knock them off and quiet their fans a little bit, I'm always relishing that. I mean, Kentucky's coming into the game pretty, I wouldn't say pretty banged up, but they're banged up. Seems like Andrew Carr, they're big from Wake Forest. He's a pretty good stretch guy. He's going to be out. Lamont Butler, the transfer guard from San Diego State, is injured. It's a possibility he misses that game. I want to shout out Brian Roth. I listened to him speak about Kentucky on the Sleepers podcast. He said that Kentucky is struggling offensively and defensively. They are 2-3 in their last 5 games. They're struggling in the paint and they're turning the ball over. They are 273rd over their last 5 games in turnovers per game, which is just eye popping. At home, they are 25th at 3-point shooting. On the road, they are 92nd. They are 1-3 in true road games. Their offense drops from a top 10 offense. I believe it might actually be the number one offense in the country when they're at Rupp Arena, to 33rd when they are on the road. And they have not scored 70 points in their 3 road losses. Haslametrics likes Tennessee to get the win, 76-68. I tend to agree. I think Chaz Lanier is going to get some open looks. I think Zakai Ziegler is going to bounce back, and I feel like a team's going to come out for vengeance on Tuesday night and may punch Kentucky in the mouth. I can see a game that Tennessee gets out to a 10, 12, 14-point game, then Kentucky claws back in it and makes it kind of close at the end, kind of similar to the Vanderbilt game that Kentucky just had. Levi, what are your thoughts?
I'm not sure why you said Zakai Ziegler would bounce back. I thought Zakai had maybe one of his best games. They didn't shoot the ball. 0 for 6 from three. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. But 14 points, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals, 1 foul. Played clean basketball against one of the more floppy teams in the SEC. I'm sure you've seen that clip of Baker Mazzara. Good Lord, dude. Just insane to me that Bishop Boswell, poor guy, gets in the game for a minute and he flops all over the place. And then Rick Barnes is like, dang it, why you fouling? Takes him out. But anyway, when it comes to Kentucky, it's at home. So I like our chances a lot. But then again, I did last year as well. And nothing went as it should have last year. They hit every shot they thought they threw up. So I'm hoping this year that it doesn't go like it did last year, but I'm with you on this one, Dallas. I think that this team, Torvik has it -8, 8.1, 76-68. I think that's about right. I also think Kentucky could make this a let's run type game. And if we play that type of game with them, we're in trouble. So my main thing is like let's get back to what we did at Auburn. Like let's set the tone. Let's make them play our style of basketball. And if we do that, I like Tennessee to win this one big, like real big. Like I like Tennessee to win like 70, 80 to 50 something. Because Kentucky shoots a lot of random threes, and I don't think that's going to be sustainable against a team like us. I think we're too physical for them,
I mean, you've
but it's
seen
also going to come down to the refs.
not to interrupt you, but you've seen Tennessee play against these types of teams before. I mean, Alabama and Tennessee seems to have
Absolutely.
Alabama's number. They're too physical for teams that play like Kentucky or Alabama do. They don't let you get into your offense. It's almost impossible to get into your offense early, and Tennessee just sets the tone.
What do our fans call it? TikTok basketball or something like that.
Ah,
Kind of funny.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I do really, really like Tennessee's chances in this game. I also love our chances against Florida at home as well. Um, it's gonna be a hornet's nest. So I'll try to send some videos to you of how it looks tomorrow night because it's gonna be packed and there's gonna be a lot of Kentucky fans around me. So I hope I don't get into a fight like I did last year.
Yeah, I mean, real quickly on the Florida game, I feel like Tennessee's going to get that victory. Very rarely does Tennessee drop 2 games to an opponent. I mean, no, they didn't even do that to Kentucky last year. They won in Rupp, but for a team to beat Tennessee twice in 2 seasons, like I said, it's just not very.
It doesn't happen. It
No.
just doesn't happen.
So with that being said, Levi, let's move on to hardly known hoopers.
These people don't know who I am, man. They gonna know who I am.
These people hardly know me though. Do they know me? Hey, these people hardly know me though. Do they know me? Hey, these people hardly know me though.
My hardly known hooper is Yaxel Lindenberg from UAB.
Ooh, UAB, I love it, dude. I watched that the other night. That guy can play.
Yes, he can. 6'9", 240 pounds, 16.9 points a game, 10.1 rebounds, 56% from the field. Just recently had a 24 and 14 game where he scored 24 points, 14 rebounds against UTSA. He's a powerful, strong finisher and driver, can stretch the floor a little bit. Probably a guy that's going to be in the NBA draft. Yeah, a little bit.
He shoots it well.
Might be a little bit of an understatement. But definitely a guy that's good. If he doesn't portal, it's a possibility. But if he doesn't portal, it's definitely going to go into NBA draft and possibly make some good money for himself in the future. So, Levi, with that being said, who is your hardly known hooper?
Oh man, I got like I said, I had to dig deep today. I had to look into it, but I got Jackson Mauney from North Dakota State University. And you know what? This program does it better than anybody else, Dallas. SDSU and NDSU, they for some reason they just have boys. But he's shooting 42% from three, 41 and 97 this year at 6'10", might I add. He's a senior, so this is it for him unless they kind of figure out that 5th-year rule. But if they do figure out the 5th-year rule, I'm telling you, he's going to be playing high-level basketball. His efficiency is incredible, 62.5% from the floor. His usage is 32%. They use him all the time. Just an incredible player. He also, in the last 10 games, has had 24, 17, 24, 15, 29, 23, 25, 28, 25, 22, 22. So if that tells you anything, yeah, I only caught him because the other night I was real bored, not feeling too well. So threw on an illegal stream, or a very legal stream, actually. But caught a North Dakota State game, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And yeah, if you watch North Dakota State, and they're going to be in the tournament this year because of him. If you watch him, make sure you keep your eye on this guy because he's flat out incredible. He doesn't look like he'd be good. He's like you could say his comparison would be like a Nikola Jokic type guy. Like you watch at first and you're like, why is this guy moving so slow? And then next thing you know, you're like, oh wow, how did he make that pass? Or oh wow, how did he hit that shot? So that's just what he does. He finishes at the rim also at 78%, which is ridiculous. Like if you're finishing 8 out of 10 at the rim, you're about as good as it gets. But man, I'd like to figure out a way to get this guy one more year.
Absolutely. And now moving on, Levi, to our college basketball pick'em. The current records are as stated. Dallas, am 14-14. So I went back to 500 finally. I went 3-1 on the week. Levi, you are 18-10. You also went 3-1 on the week. Let's go ahead and get started with the games. First, we have
Even as you rigged it.
First, we have Houston at West Virginia. I'm going with the Cougars. Love Kelvin Sampson, just my type of ball. So I'm taking the Cougars in that one. Levi, who do you have?
Carbon copy.
Sounds good to me.
I like Houston in that one. Not even a question.
Moving on, we have Alabama at Mississippi State. I'm going to take my guy Chris Jans to pull off the victory and go with Mississippi State. Levi?
I'll take Alabama. They'll shoot them out the gym.
Now we have Auburn at Ole Miss. I am taking Auburn. I would like for them to lose one here soon so Tennessee can maybe get back in that SEC championship race, but I just don't see it happening on this occasion, Levi.
I like Ole Miss. I think after a hard-fought game that we had with them, they'll be emotional. Janai Broom's ankle's got to be killing him. So I'm going to take Ole Miss in that one.
All right, and moving on to the I Miss Bill Walton game. This is a game that I'm going to be teary-eyed watching. Oregon at UCLA. I took the Bruins. Levi?
Sir. Give me the Bruins. I really love the way they play basketball. The free-flowing style they play. It's kind of a nice offense. So
Mick Cronin's a very good coach.
I love Cronin to death, man. I mean, even from his days at Xavier. Was it Xavier?
Yes.
Yes. He's always just been one of those guys that I've always just enjoyed watching coach. And I don't know how much time we have, but he his rant the other day about how we've seen the Statue of Liberty 4 times in the last week. Because they were asking, like, does it feel unfair that Penn State had to fly out to UCLA? He's like, they get to stay in the same hotel. Like, I don't know if you saw that, but man, that was awesome. I loved it. And I've always been a big Cronin guy. I went to his camp back in the day up in Ohio. So I'm a big fan of Cronin. So
when you said
UCLA.
When you said Xavier, I said yes. It's Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's Cincinnati.
Yeah. I was thinking about that.
Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, I was thinking of that rivalry they had, and his name just kind of he's kind of
that's where the brawl happened when he was there.
Yeah, his name's kind of ingrained with Xavier for me. But anyway, before we get off, totally fine. Before we get off, we have a little housekeeping to take care of here.
We interrupt this program for a special locker room cleaning update.
Nate Ament and Braden Berries, 2 Tennessee prospects, have been named to the All-American game. Congrats.
The McDonald's All-American game?
Yeah, McDonald's All-American.
Wow.
Congrats. And congrats also to Coach Kim Caldwell on her birth, and not her birth, but the birth of her child. And we just hope that everything goes smoothly as she becomes a mother for the first time. And also on that note, the Lady Vols are tied with Stanford with 3 signees in the women's McDonald's All-American game with Mia Paldo, Denia Prawl, and Jada Civil. Personally, I think Lauren Hurst got shafted. She should have been in that game. Tennessee should have had 4, but that's not here or there. And that is housekeeping, or as I like to call it, locker room keeping. Levi, you had a question?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the women's game a little bit tonight. I thought maybe we should touch on it just for 5 or 10 minutes here.
I actually had that written down.
Okay. I was making sure. I didn't want to go too crazy here, but what are your thoughts? Um, Personally, I think it could get somewhat ugly the way that we play, but having Coach Kim back, even though we both salivated a little bit over Coach Jenna there the other night, we'll keep that from the ladies. But I just wanted you to touch on that a little bit. I didn't know what your thoughts were. I really don't like our matchup. We don't have a big. I think that is it Spearman? Is that the
Yes,
big lady?
Z Spearman.
I love her. I love her game. They don't abuse her enough though. The space the Lady Vols use, I don't think will ever work, Dallas. Also, they trap in the middle of the floor sometimes, and you just don't ever trap the middle of the floor. Like you'll have an inbound pass after a bucket, right? You get a layup, and then you're trapping a good team with a decent point guard in the middle of the floor. That's an easy pass. That's somebody wide open, and I really don't like that when I see it. And I'm not sure what you think, like maybe the recruiting, the style of coaching, or what the problem is there, but I really don't like the fact that they'll trap the middle of the floor. And that was my main question for you was what do you think they can do to improve the trapping and the press that they put on? Because they're leading the country at full court press at 56% of the time. So I don't know. You let me know.
Personally, I think it's something you can do. You just have to have very talented athletes, which is what Tennessee is bringing in. If you have some longer girls out there with a pretty good sized wingspan, I think it's something you could possibly do. Get some tips off of passes. Normally, you don't want to do it, but we know that Coach Kim Caldwell is very unconventional in the way she coaches her team. On Twitter or X, sorry, Elon, I tweeted right before the
We gotta be careful, man.
yeah, I tweeted right before the Auburn game that Tennessee would get one of two games between Auburn and South Carolina. I was hoping it would be the Auburn game because I didn't feel great about the South Carolina matchup. And when we went down to Auburn, I said, well, shit. So I don't know really if Tennessee can hang with South Carolina. I think South Carolina, this is no bold take here, is probably the best team in the country.
By far. It's not
Yes.
close.
It's
It's
not.
not close. If you watch the LSU game the other night, they're way better than LSU.
The only thing that I am cautious about going and saying that Tennessee has no shot is just how close they've came in some of these games. And if they can keep it close, maybe like 6 or 8 points into the fourth quarter, maybe something clicks and they learn how to win a game in the fourth quarter and they come together and just shock the country. I feel like that would be, I mean, how big of a statement win for Kim Caldwell would beating South Carolina in her first game back from just having a child how many days ago? 7 days ago? How big of a statement
Yeah.
would that be?
Yeah, it'd be, I mean, dude, this win, and I don't know that. I know you're a big basketball fan like I am, and people are always like, oh, tweeting about the Lady Balls. So stupid. I'm like, dude, look, if you like ball, you grew up watching the Lady Balls every time they played. I mean,
Absolutely.
Candace Parker, like nobody believes me. And Dallas, I don't want to get into this because I'll start going on a rant, like a serious rant. Candace Parker's the best women's basketball player I've ever seen. Like she was playing the game at a level that just did not make sense. It's like when they won the Final Four game against LSU or the championship game against LSU that year. Your inbounds pass goes to your power forward. She leads the break. Like, come on, man. Like, nobody else was doing that in 2007.
Yeah, 2007,
But
2008.
I'm not going to get into the conversation of Candace Parker because, in my opinion, I've watched a lot of women's ball. My mom played for Louisiana Tech back in the day. Has a national championship. My dad played for UConn. I've watched a lot of ball in my life. But I can promise you, I've never seen a better women's player than Candace Parker. But a win tonight for Kim would be massive. And I'd love to see it because, man, it's just like they're so close. And everybody's talking about on Twitter, this team may not even make the tournament. Like, they're 15-4.
I mean, get out of here. I mean, that's
Like,
crazy.
They're 15-4. They're gonna win a couple more. It's that Vanderbilt loss that everybody's panicking over, but that Vanderbilt team's a good team, man.
They just went into Tuscaloosa and beat Bama.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a really, really good Vanderbilt team. I'm not worried about this women's team whatsoever. I think they're a very solid team, and even if they lose tonight, you're still sitting at 15-5. Still you're a top 20 team on Torvik, like first year, bunch of transfers. This is a really, really good basketball team, and I honestly think they could make it a game tonight. I'm scared that they'll do some dumb crap and try to trap the middle of the floor. And if you try to trap the middle of the floor, but then again, Talasia Cooper came from South Carolina. Maybe she just goes off tonight. I don't know.
Let me say this. This will be out tomorrow, probably in the morning before the game is, so the game will be over. But I'm gonna hope this somehow, like telepathically, reaches Danny White. If Tennessee wins this game tonight, I don't care if there's 100 people. I don't care if there's 1,000 people at this game. I want a court storming because that's massive.
Let it fly.
Do you agree? I mean, I don't know
Let it fly.
How often do you see court stormings in women's basketball?
Well, let's be for real, Dallas. No matter what, the Lady Vols are the most prominent name in women's college ball. So I don't know about storming the court, but you might see a couple ladies running around with some crazy shit on their head or something.
Let's say this. I feel like Tennessee has been a sleeping giant ever since Holly Warlick.
You nailed it. First time, Holly Warlick.
Oh, I got it good? Okay.
Yeah, you nailed it. First time.
I mean, she was here. She done a pretty good job. It's just following Pat.
2 Elite Eights.
Yeah. Following Pat Summit. That was just a tough job. But then you bring in Kelly Harper, who I just thought from day one was kind of over her head. No disrespect to her. But for a first-year coach to come in and beat South Carolina, who, as much as we hate to say it, has became the face of women's basketball, college at least, along with Iowa by Caitlin Clark was there. That would just be momentous, and that would be a game that I would be okay with a court storming personally, but I understand why you would not be. So, Levi, before we get off here, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I feel like we highlighted a lot tonight. I feel like this was one of our better podcasts, man. It's gonna be very interesting tomorrow night. So we'll see. We'll see how tomorrow night goes. But you got a prediction?
Yeah, Vols by 50. But no, Vols 80, Kentucky 67.
I like that. I'm hoping that I'm just reimagining last year where Reed Shepherd decided that he was Steph Curry, but I'm gonna take Vols 74, Kentucky 59. I like us to really shut them down. I don't think they're physical enough, so that's all I got to say.
Sounds good. And I just got to say, if that happens, I'm going to be strutting my stuff on Wednesday. But from Dallas and Levi, we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in, and go Vols.